What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I just want to show you guys today how I edit my night portraits in Lightroom. Recently went on a shoot with my buddy Alec right downtown in Pittsburgh and East Carson Street, just kind of popping around to all the different shops, checking out some cool neon lights. We took some photos along the way, but I just wanted to show you guys today how I edit my night portraits to get what looks like my own type of photo, but still kind of comes along on that cool little Brandon Woelfel type-esque edit with the neon lights, with the teals and the pinks. It's gonna be sweet, guys. It's gonna be sweet. So let's hop into the computer and we can start editing. All right, guys. Once you're in Lightroom, we're gonna build this from the ground up. No presets or anything. These are all my presets. No presets today. We're building directly from the ground up. We're going from this image to this image. Man, that pops so much more. It's so much nicer, so much cleaner. Look at those blues, man. Those pinks and magentas. Oh. Love it. So we're going to go from that to that. Get ready. Okay. So I've reset everything over here on my side. I'm assuming that you guys have a somewhat basic understanding of how Lightroom works. If not, let me know below in the comments. I can do a video on the basics of Lightroom. Would love to do that for you guys. But we're going to pretty much utilize every single tab in Lightroom except for lens corrections and transform. Every other tab we're going to utilize. So let's get started. I'm going to teach you my process here. First thing I do is I always straighten out the image for the horizon line. Just good habit. I don't like crooked images all that much unless I'm going for a really stylized look. So we're gonna change the rotation on that. Then we're gonna come over here and we're going to cool it down just a little bit. I want to go to 2700 maybe, and then we can bump this magentas up just a bit. After that, typically, I don't want any of these. I don't want it to be very dark. I want these shadows to kind of rise a bit. So we're gonna bring these shadows up. We're gonna bring the blacks up a bit. We can bring the highlights up too. I want my images to be a little bit brighter. See, that's already popping so much more. And we can even bring the whites up a bit too. So that's kind of it. We're gonna come back to this basic tab later. But for right now, we're gonna move down to the tone curves. You'll see things kind of move along, and once you tweak something somewhere else, you might have to go back and change it in another section again. So, all right, so down in this tone curve section, we're gonna bring these darks up. This is kind of just another, this just kind of moves the shadows up in a different way. It kind of does the same thing as, it's like, it moves a different part of the blacks. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of tools in here, guys. So we're gonna bring the darks up. I'm gonna bring it up to around 47. And then I'm actually gonna bring the shadows down to about 20. I just want it to pop a little bit. I don't want it to be washed out. And then I'm gonna bring these lights up. That's even more, that does even more than just bringing the highlights up. So I'm gonna bring those up. These highlights, you can see what these do. It kind of flattens it. If you want to bring it all the way down, you can. It's just personal editing preference, but I typically leave mine right at 0, just around there. And this is where the fun comes in, guys, in the HSL sliders, hue, saturation, luminance. This is where it gets pretty crazy, and you can really have a lot of fun changing these colors up. So the first thing I actually want to change are these blues, because I want to get these dull, drab, just normal looking blues out of there, and I want to make it more of a teal color. So ready? We're just going to pop this guy right to like -50. Boom. Oh, I love that so much more. You can do the same with the purples. You can look at that. Like, that is insane. All the way back here. I love that so much more. I wish the world looked like this just all the time. So yeah, you can change all of this stuff, guys. It's kind of just playing around until you find something you like. I don't necessarily love these pinks. I like the red color a little bit more, so I'm going to bring the magenta pretty much all the way, hard right. We're just going to work your way up here. Aqua, not really doing a whole lot. Greens, you can see in the window here that it's changing that. I like that to be a little more yellow. I want these yellows to be a little bit more orange, because you see if I go right to the green, that looks really funky on his face. So we're going to go all the way back to the left on that too. Same with the orange. We're just going to kind of drag it until we see something we like. I like it to be a little red, because this right here is acting as some motivation for this light to be a little bit more red on his face. And then you can change the reds if you want to a different color. I'm going to keep it pretty much right at 0. I love that. Saturation, same sort of deal. We're just going to play around with it until we find something we like. That looks weird to me, so we're just going to kind of keep yellows right where they were. I can bring the oranges down just a little bit, because I think Canon shoots really orange for some reason. Like, too saturated. The skin tones are always too saturated. I'm gonna leave these reds where they are. I think they look pretty good. Same with the blues. I can bring them up a little bit, make them pop a little more. And then the luminance, guys. The luminance, all it really is just changing the brightness of the color. So you can see if I change these blues, right here is gonna get real bright. You see how it changed the luminance of that color specifically. It just changes the brightness. I kind of like that a little bit brighter. I typically will do this with the face. You can see how it exposes him, makes him pop just a little bit more. Same with the reds. I think that looks really great. Yellows, yeah, that's gonna stay where it is. Try not to go too crazy. Yeah, subtlety, guys. Subtlety is the way to go. Subtlety is the way to go. And now we can add some tint in the shadow and the highlights. I love this tool, man. This split toning is such magic. So you'll see what it does here. Ooh, God, that looks bad. So we're gonna tone that down a bit to, let's stay at 20. Like I said, subtlety is key. And you can kind of just scrub through the slider until you find something that you really like. I'm going for a cooler tone here, so I love that. I'm gonna bring it down even further, the saturation down even further. And then I'm actually just gonna pop the highlights to about 30. I think that really lands on the skin tone, so you can see what happens if I really bump that. I never go above like 10 highlights, or else it just kind of looks a little strange to me. And then you have this balance tool where you can kind of set one to be more of a priority over the other. So I'm actually just going to leave this slightly to the right. Let's go about 20, 25. It's looking pretty good. So let me turn off some of these sidebars here, and we can see exactly what the split toning did. It's very subtle, the split toning. The HSL is going to be a massive difference. Look at that. Like, that is a massive, massive difference. Same with the tone curve. That makes things really pop. I can't turn that off. But you can see where we came from was here. We've already really done a number on this image. The next thing we're gonna do, and this is incredibly important with night shooting, is just some basic noise reduction, because if you can see here, we'll go to his face and we'll click luminance here to bring that noise reduction up. Yeah, we just want to soften everything a little bit. If I turn this off, check this out. Look at all of that grain. That's unbelievable in this image. Look at all that grain. So we're just going to turn that back on, get rid of all that, make it look a little bit cleaner. Next thing I'm going to do is I bring the dehaze up. All of my images, I bring dehaze up just a little bit, just to make it a little more contrasty, make it pop. I don't know if any of these car lights are going to be poking into my lens and shooting some haze into my lens. I don't want that to happen. So just to make it a little more crisp, I always bring dehaze up by like 5 or 10. And then down in camera calibration, you have the red primary, green primary, and blue primary. Essentially, this is just changing the hue of that, not that specific color, but how that tone is interwoven throughout the entire image. So anything kind of relatively close to blue, it might change. And so it's almost like you're turning, like picture the color wheel, it's just kind of turning the color wheel a little bit. So you can see it's going to change the oranges, it's going to change the blue when I turn this. So here we go, boom. You see how the red's changed? Like it changes your image drastically. I kind of like it, I think I kind of like it around 25. And the saturation does something very similar too. It more or less just makes your image pop with color. So it's kind of like the HSL slider on steroids. You can see that is just a drastic difference. I like that. I actually like that popped up a bit. That's pretty cool. So we can turn that on and off. You can see just that little section there has already given us so much more color pop and color contrast in this image that you can't go back now. You're stuck with it. It looks so good. I don't want to mess with the reds too much. I don't want to play with his skin tones all that much because I love where they are already. Same with these greens. We might actually play with this a little bit, but honestly, I think I liked it where it was before. So we're gonna stick it right there, guys. And that's kind of how I edit these images. We came from that to that. This is my original image on the left. I actually like the edit I just did way more than this. So we're gonna stick right here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you learned something valuable and new and that you can apply these same editing techniques to your photos next time you go out. For a long time, I was really scared of shooting at night. I'm primarily a natural light, daytime orient. Like, sunset is my happy place, guys. Sunset is where it's at. The golden light coming. Ooh. But recently, I've been really turned on to this idea of night shooting. So I hope that you learned something new today and that you can apply that to your next shoot. If you haven't already, subscribe below. I'm doing some new tutorials on photography, cinematography, filmmaking, all that sort of thing, and a lot more vlogs coming your way. Like or comment below. Comment with things you might want to learn. I will be sure to teach them. Have a great day, guys.